All right. High Drop episode 115 coming in hot. We have the whole gang, SPL founders, partners, the crew that is SPL, Rene Scavington, Tom Coppola, and Dylan Polin of Hub, as well as Vinny Fiacco, who joined us in a madhouse of dialogue, and we hope you enjoy it very much. Of course, previewing the big SPL1 event that's coming this August. Links in the description for all of that. Please check it out. Really fun to have these guys in town to run the Outrun qualifier that they just had, and of course talk about their amazing event and what we can all expect. Nothing further to say. Enjoy. Now we are recording officially. Oh, yeah. No, we're not yet. Hold on. Now we are officially
recording. How many people in Colorado have that tattoo?
Probably 25.
I have no idea.
Should we like clap to make sure it's all in the same?
Yeah. No. Well,
it's great.
All right, I'll get one clap.
Oh shit, that was like actually sharp.
Good clap. That's an excellent clap.
Thanks. I'm like a pro. All I know here, I can tell you the story if you don't know it.
Ooh,
about how the tattoo came to be.
Don't know at all, but I know that many people have it.
Benny, take it away.
Oh man, all right. It was Nat Jam in 2013 or 14. And it had just finished up. We were hanging out at Rob Schill's house, his parents' house. We were watching Avatar. A couple people said they had never seen it. Max Henry was, it's like the first time we all met Max Henry. He was hanging out. And he was like super into the show. So we just put it on and we kept partying for the most part. And then as the night went on, we were talking about getting, like, let's get tattoos. I might have been the one responsible for that. I do that often. And it came out like, oh yeah, like we could be part of what essentially this symbolizes. White Lotus in the show is an order that kind of transcends the four nations and works to help to bring everyone together. So a bunch of us are like, we'll book it tomorrow before we fly out. Me, Brandon, Amos, Justin Sweeney. Justin's like, I fly out at like 3. So we're on the phone at Sunday at 10 a.m. Like, you guys open today? Can you take 4 people for a quick tattoo? We finally find some guy in Boulder who's willing to do it. Show up. Justin's like, I gotta get mine, and then literally leave. So Justin gets his. I drive him to the airport. I get back. Brandon had gotten his, but Brandon got his bigger than 10%. Justin. 10%.
Was it 20 or 10?
10%.
10% bigger.
And then Amos went next and got his 10% bigger than Brandon's. So I show up and he puts it on my arm and I'm like, that looks way bigger than I thought we agreed on. And he turns to me and just goes, 10% bigger. And he starts tattooing. So that's why mine is larger. And I had no idea why I was getting 10% bigger. But the 4 of us got it and then decided to essentially be like, okay, so this is do good for the community, kind of move forward. People started noticing that we had it, just being like, oh, I want to be part of the club, and just getting it without knowing what it was, what it stood for, whether it was part of a Nickelodeon cartoon. So people have that tattoo have no idea what the reference is. Just know that some parkour guys got it, so they wanted to get it too. And then next thing you know, people like Andrew Triple has it on his chest in the Iron Man style, but it's the Lotus. People made designs on t-shirts. I don't know if you saw it yesterday. Someone was wearing the Lotus. No. It's the Lotus, like 7/8 of the Lotus, and then coming out of the Lotus is a different design of theirs.
Knox had a fucking yin yang version.
Yeah.
On his rib cage.
Yeah, black.
His only tattoo.
Yeah. So people just started getting their own versions of it and stuff, and it was cool to see it grow. But it also was weird to see people be like, oh, same. And you're like,
but that was also the intention from the beginning. I remember we talked about it.
It does make sense.
We wanted to make it like a expansive thing where we wanted to see somebody on the street and be like, oh my God, they have it. And know that they got it because it started with us, but also we don't know them.
Yes, but I did hope that they knew some reference to what they were getting a tattoo of. I totally agree with that part. But yeah, then people were like, oh, it's from a cartoon. I'm like, okay, you like a little bit of research. I tell people it's a pomegranate.
Yeah. I thought it was a grapefruit too.
Yeah. I tell people all sorts of stuff.
I can't remember in Avatar, So does Uncle Iro, like, does he have a tattoo?
It's not a tattoo.
He has a pie show tile.
Yeah, there's like a chess game. And yeah.
Okay, so each member has like something they can show that has the symbol.
Yes.
On it. Okay.
Well, the White Lotus tile is a tile in the pie show game, but it's like the Joker card or some shit. Like it's not supposed to mean anything, and people think it's useless, but secretly, right?
Mm-hmm.
You getting that right?
And then when you play another member,
ultimate meaning.
If you want to like get into the club kind of thing, you begin to play a game of pie show and you put your tiles in a certain order, and that resembles also a White Lotus. And then when you put the White Lotus in the middle, it's like, oh, cool, the secret handshake. See him back. So, yeah.
So is there a secret handshake that goes along with the tattoo?
We can't
tell you
you
until you get the tattoo. Sorry.
I love how quick that
Members only.
Yeah. All right.
So when are you getting it?
No.
Do you have any tattoos?
I don't have any tattoos.
Either of you?
No, it's
I'm
not
tattoo-less. Actually,
Naked
this is
boys.
a question I have because I'm totally tattoo illiterate. But everyone who got 10% bigger, did you have to pay 10% more for the
No, it's
tattoo?
included in the price.
It's included in the price.
And we were watching Avatar while we got our tattoos.
He put it on the TV for us. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
What a nice.
And the 10% tradition continued for like a few more. And like I
Yes.
think it ended with Jake Smith got it pretty fucking big on his shoulder. It was
Yes.
like the size of your hand at that point.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Yeah.
people tapped out and they stopped doing 10%.
Dylan has a pretty good tattoo.
Dylan, tell us about your
I don't
tattoo.
know. Which one?
You know which one.
Which one?
How about the Arnold? We'll start with Arnold and Gerald.
Yeah, good. Hey, Arnold and Gerald.
Harold.
Gerald and Arnold. Because didn't always know tattoos were forever.
Hey, big chillin' though with that one.
That's yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people love it, and then I ask them, "Do you want to get it on you?" And then they're like, "No, I don't want to get it."
I love that. I got a tattoo in the same spot that I didn't like either. Penguin on my shin. At least we both knew if you're gonna get a shitty tattoo, put it somewhere where anyone can see it.
Yeah, but now like shorts are off limits.
Shorts.
You know? It's like shorts are high.
That's why I invented the
Also-
Mern sock to
Bathhouses are off limits.
what?
In Japan.
Japanese
Yeah.
bathhouses are off limits for you three.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I thought Japanese like has a strong tradition of tattooing.
The Yakuza do, which is why you can't go into
Wow.
family-friendly
Don't they have
bathhouses.
their own bathhouses? These
They
Yakuza?
do. You should not go into one of those.
You think I'll get into a?
You'll get in with
bathhouse?
yeah.
Hey.
You'll see that and they'll know, oh, Nick too. I felt bad immediately.
A little bit.
My favorite tattoo. Shout out Max Henry. I lost odds and got this one.
What was the odds? Like the number?
The number 1 in 25.
Okay. I lost 1 in 50. Had to invite Dudley to my wedding.
No way.
Yeah, I invited him the day of, and then the wedding was in New Hampshire. So,
You didn't say when.
He
Yeah,
didn't
that's a
say
good-
when.
nice
I
loophole.
lost 1 in 50 to Jake Vigil.
Amazing.
He didn't respond.
Wow.
It's even worse.
Did you just send it in like a
Hardly
Facebook
a
message?
great gesture.
I think he unfriended me. I think
On MySpace, you went way deep.
I went away. I sent him a Google Plus request and he didn't accept it.
Oh, man. I feel like we should at least address, before we get too rowdy, the big event that's coming up. You guys are putting it on. Obviously, Vinny excluded. This is the
Ouch.
SPL team.
Ouch. I got cut.
No, you've been there since like the beginning. You just don't get any credit.
That's the way it goes, I guess.
Actually,
We know
all
that
Vinny.
you're integral. I was telling Vinny the other day, I was looking through the history of the Height Drop like episodes. And I was like, I wonder, like, I don't like to do this stuff, but I was like, maybe I should look at the statistics and see if I can learn something. Like, who's got the most views and what episodes, like, is there a pattern to try to make this grow? Vinny is the key. He is the highest viewed episodes of the Height Drop History podcast.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll say anything for views. Give me a topic.
So we know this one's gonna pop.
All right. That's why he's the token
He's
guy.
like the he's like the network of mushrooms that holds the community together.
The mycelium
Yeah,
network.
that's how I describe Vinny. Like a mushroom.
Kind of like
Mushroom
like a
adjacent.
Goomba.
A Goomba. That sounds weirdly like Italian racist.
yeah, basically. I can say it. Did you say it?
I could say it.
He's Italian.
How Italian?
He's
What's his
fucking-
last name?
How Italian?
How Italian? I'm 3/4 Italian.
That's pretty Italian.
I was born in New Jersey.
Yeah, but wait, what generation are you? Like your parents are
Pretty far removed. Yeah.
Nah, I'll
I'm
take
on
it. You're okay. You're
I'm on
okay.
Duolingo.
You're on there's 11 days. You have your 11 day streak.
I actually, the last couple days, I lost my streak.
Oh, forget it. Start over.
The worst is when you actually win. I was
Wait, you
like,
can win Duolingo?
sort of. The hardest medal that I feel like you can get is the like legendary medal, which means you have to work your way up to like the Diamond League, which means you have to place like in every whatever top 10 in the for like I don't know 6 weeks in a row or some
Gloria was
shit,
diamond.
and then you have to win the Diamond League.
I did not know they quantified
Dude,
Duolingo like
you
this.
get hard,
They
and when you get to
gamified
those
it. So gamified.
top tiers, they go hard in the paint. I was fucking fighting, battling this lady for the top spot, and we would like go back and forth, and it's like a 24-hour window, and you're just like doing fucking drills or whatever, like
Literally.
speaking language, and then you'd wake up and they have like 600 more points. You're like, fuck, I got to get back on it. I had to have like, we were on a road trip. I was like, Kiri, you got to drive. I'm doing this Duolingo. I have to get it. But once I got the badge, I was like, oh, I need a break. And I just like barely ever looked at it again.
Just
And then-
delete it off your phone.
I won the game.
What language
I'm
were
out.
you?
What?
What language?
I was doing Vietnamese. I was learning because Kira's obviously Vietnamese.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn some of that. We went to Vietnam.
It's not obvious. I don't see color.
Gloria's strategy for French was she would get double the amount of points of the person in second, and then just continue that until she felt like she had a like strong enough lead, and then she would be like, and then they just lose all hope. And they quit.
Yeah, you can take their soul away at the end. It feels good.
Why?
I'm just gonna get
But it always
Cool.
had to be
Cool.
double whatever they had.
Damn, she's ruthless. She
You're
was out
welcome.
there. I'm glad I wasn't against her.
Yeah, I think there's because it resets on a certain day of the week too, and she had like an advantage with like work schedule
Oh yeah.
because she felt like people only played on Saturday or played, but I guess I don't know.
Played. It is a game.
It is a
It is a
game.
Yeah, you
They only
gamify it.
learned.
Yeah,
On
everyone tried to get
Saturday.
other points on Saturday and Sunday, but she could. And then someone actually like messaged her and was like, "Do you have a job?" And she's like, "Yes, I'm a full-time piano teacher."
Yeah, I got the follow from that lady that I was battling out with in the last tier.
You got the what?
She followed me on
You could
Duolingo
follow
after that.
Duolingo,
After
yeah.
that, she was like, all right, respect.
Yeah, it's a tip
I-
to that.
Out already? What are you doing?
I'm fidgety.
You are fidgety.
You want a pillow?
Yeah.
Have the Height Drop Dimension pillow available at heightdrop.com.
So good.
Do you have any fidget?
If you do
No,
it,
no
fidget
fidget
spinners would go a
spinners,
lot better.
Here, you want to play this game?
Oh my god, no.
All right. Yeah. So we are having a parkour competition. That is
Oh,
happening.
that is how this. Oh yeah, yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
As someone who barely watches the parkour community I still watch it very heavily, but I'm not as involved as I used to be. This is like the biggest thing. I'm like, it's pumped me up. I'm really seeing a lot of hype about it because of who's competing. It's one of the most stacked events I've ever seen, period. And it's also off the back of COVID. Like, how did you guys manage this? How was there?
At the last minute.
At the last minute. Because you kept saying like in various like episodes, like, I hope you don't disappoint. And it's like, well, it's impossible to disappoint already, I feel like, with the lineup you guys put together. But I didn't even know why you were saying that. I think you were just being real underselling it, which I like.
Well, we're trying.
'Cause did you know
we're
it was
trying
gonna
a
be
number
this
of new
lit?
things?
Okay. What's
And-
new?
Tell us
Okay,
what's
so pay-per-view. You know what the pay-per-view?
I didn't know that. Okay, yeah,
Tickets
but I
on
did
sale
want to talk
tomorrow.
about
I don't know
the
when this comes
parallels
out,
with UFC.
but I don't know when this comes
I
out.
turn
but
around pretty quick.
But tickets on sale tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, shit.
So every time we have done an NAPC, we always front the cash to do a live stream And the costs have gone up and down for that all over the place. We've had partnerships, we've had those fall through, brought in new people, we've made deals, stuff like that. And it costs to do a good one. It costs, last time in 2019, we were working with some new players in that, and they did a great job, but there was also tons of stuff that we couldn't do because it was our first time working with them. And so after that whole debacle, we we learned a lot and realized that, okay, next time we do that, we can have this, and this. But it was actually Tom who started to think of it in a way to also get money for the athletes and partner with them, similar to how, you've mentioned like UFC pay-per-view, like pay-per-view points, that sort of thing. So we are doing a pay-per-view, and a portion of each sale goes to athletes.
Oh, wow. I love that.
They're all getting their own link, their own affiliate link. So if you purchase through one of their links, then they get a kickback from it. So if they don't podium, it's a little bit of show money, basically.
Nice.
And a chance for some of them, if they come from like gym communities, or if they have a lot of support behind them, because some of these athletes are able to get like GoFundMes even, to make it out to the event. So if they have that kind of support, then I think they can, make a good buck off of the event, regardless of how it goes down for them.
And that's available to everyone that's competing.
Yeah.
Regardless of like whether they are like the returning champion or anything like that. Is there any incentive or extra for those people, or is that like individual case by case deals, or are they blanket across the board?
It's all equal.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, unless we wonder sometimes, because we have like Dom Tomato coming out.
Yeah,
and he was someone early on that we were thinking, okay, he has such a big following, so he would benefit from this, we would benefit from it. But also, like, he's not someone to hustle that sort of thing. So I don't know. We're gonna give him his link, and we'll see what he does with it.
Well, that's awesome though. I love that. I love that you're opening it up, giving people to like a chance to really leverage whatever work they've already done to make more money and actually make a career out of this. What's the pay-per-view cost going to be? Are you announcing that yet?
Can we say yet?
I mean, it'll be released tomorrow, I suppose.
But what did we land on? I don't know. See, this is like,
maybe we don't know
how much does
yet.
it cost? And I'm like, wait a second. We went through like 6 different numbers today. Which one did we
Here's a
land on?
question. What do you pay for UFC?
I believe the current price for a HD full main card is $64.99, maybe $74.99. But they also require you to sign up for ESPN Plus, so it might be another $10 on top of that. If you get the Disney package, you get some other shit, whatever. It's a little more complicated, but it's at least $60.
So fun, and that's USD.
And that's UFC.
USD, yes.
Oh, USD.
So
Yeah,
fun experience. What would you pay for?
What would I pay?
For 2? So we're gonna do the plan is for the Friday. So it's a 3-day event. For the Friday, the plan is to live stream on YouTube and Twitch for free, and then we have a separate platform that we've already paid for set up for the pay-per-view. Vinny's happy about that. Twitch.
Nice.
We should talk more about other deliverables as well. I'll explain what that means
So
later.
the pay-per-view gets you 2 nights of 3 to 4 hours of
The best parkour you can see. What's that worth to you?
What is that worth to me? I would say it's around $70. I mean, I think it's comparable to like what we're fucking talking about with UFC. No, I mean, here's the deal. It's really not, like, to me, it's comparable. It's comparable, but you guys would have to deliver a UFC level of production, which I know you probably can't do. Yeah. Because the UFC is just, they've been in the game.
Faith.
But here's the thing.
I'm gonna sell this real quick.
I think half that is a great price. I think I would pay $70. But I wouldn't like it to be that much.
So we're gonna tell you what's going on, just so you know, Phyllis. So we have the best commentator in the game coming in. I'm saying that pretty confidently. Joey Adrian. I don't know if you've listened to some of his work or what, if you recall from 2019, but when he got his licks in, it was he's so quick, he's so knowledgeable, and so he's a great analyst. We're gonna be pairing him with the comical Josh Dowie.
Oh,
a lovely gentleman, recent High Drop alum.
He's learned a lot over the years. He's been working as an assistant on a podcast and doing his stand-up comedy all the time. So we expect some big things. All of the graphics and titles and things that we've missed in previous years, those are getting planned ahead.
Nice.
As well as some course walkthroughs and things like that so that people know what's going on. And we think for the weekend that's worth $40.
I think that's a powerfully priced event. It's $20 a night, basically. That's really good. And it's an annual event. It's a one time a year thing. I think it's easily worth that. And I'm glad it's not like 70 because again, we're just in a different income bracket generally as a parkour like population. You know, we don't have, it's not going to be an easy ask to get someone to spend more than that, but I think that's very reasonable.
I just want to point out too that this event has actually over the years become the international standard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when people talk about world championships or like they're claiming that they're world champion speed athletes and they won a FIG competition that they were invited, they were one of 5 athletes who were 1 willing to participate and 2 just invited because they were willing to participate. Claiming that you're a world champion speed athlete is one thing, but winning at NAPC or what we're calling this event SPL1 is going to really make you a world champion. So,
and we got the storylines this year. There's just so many. Like we can go top to bottom. You're just talking about speed, but we always start with skill.
Let's start with skill.
And so we have the returning champion, Tim Champion, who is the only, I think, has anyone else, because you had the stats on this the other day, has anyone else won skill as many times as he has? Because he did 3 in a row.
Oh, you know what? I don't have that data right in my brain, but he's done 3 in a row, which is unique. I don't think anybody else has done 3 in a row. So I think he's the first to do that in skill. Technically, in 2019, he tied Joe Henderson, although we all really know he won. So,
shout out to Joe Henderson.
We always learn too.
Yeah.
We always, whenever there's we put out a format and we make live decisions and we appoint officials and all that jazz. And sometimes it just doesn't go the way that we thought it was going to go, but we always learn and we try to adjust for next year. But
what?
Yeah.
You want to keep talking about skill here?
Yeah, I want to keep talking about skill.
Because Brody Pawson participated in 2019, and he was one of the favorites to win going into the 3rd day, and he got injured during practice, and he had to pull out. And he probably, in my opinion, would have won skill and speed based on his performance earlier in the competition. So he's returning. We also have very much a wild card coming through with Seabay.
Oh my God, he's
I think he just
intriguing to say the least.
And he's been on the come up in the Netherlands, and he's won like all those competitions over there. And this year he's been sending like world's first after world's first at like really notable spots, IMAX and such. So really excited to see his performance. We pre-qualified him based on just the fact that he's been so in the public eye with these world's first, but also because he actually has a track record of competition history where he's actually won. Daryl Stingley is coming back. Always a podium finisher, and he's been with us since 2014. So basically,
a legend.
Yeah, just a legend in itself. Who else we got pre-qualified for skill?
Hendo.
Well, Hendo. Yeah, we got the return. But see, I was going to talk about him with speed. But yeah, the return of the fastest man in parkour, People's Champ.
But also,
People's Champ.
Also, due to the way that the competition panned out and the way we awarded points, he tied for first.
He certainly did.
And if he's listening to this and we're talking about, I think we just kind of alluded to that. No, I think you already said it, that Tim should have won. We get to run it back.
Do something, Hendo.
It was such an interesting year when that happened too, because I remember talking to Kai, because I think that was
so anti.
That was like the end of Storm. But
the end of Storm.
Yeah. But I remember Kai just saying, like, I was like, who's gonna win, like Tim or Hendo? And he's like, well, Hendo learned how to swing.
Yeah.
And that was the big
Yeah,
thing.
he went to NorCal with like Daryl and worked on swings for like a couple of weeks, right? And then after that, it was he competed at NAPC and essentially worked his way up to the top.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing with Hendo is nobody's seen anything from him.
I know
in
he's the most
last 3
anticipated,
years.
I think, of all of the athletes to get announced. I'm like, what is it going to be? It's like when Conor McGregor came back for the first time after his, or even if he comes back again, it'll be just like that. Or John Jones's next fight. It's like someone that we just like, who knows? Is he still got it? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I always think the heart grows fonder, and it's one of the things I hate about social media. It's kind of it's a volume game. So to utilize social media, particularly now with like IG rewards and stuff like that, like if it just plays to like, okay, how much content can I put out and how appealing can I make it? And some people don't know how to play the game as well, and so they just go out and hit challenge after challenge, the biggest stuff they can, and it's always cool to see, but it does kind of start to lull, and you just get used to seeing the same kind of thing again and again. So it's always nice for me if I don't see someone for a while, and then I think about back in the day where you had to wait like a year for someone to put out their show reel, when it was just YouTube. That was always such a crazy thing, and I think like Yanis Shower is the only one that's kept that.
Yeah, he's the last of the Mohicans on that one.
And
and he might not even do it anymore.
Well, yeah, he's not really doing it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's done basically. When he died, or he never's gonna do it.
Oh my god! Shout out to Giannis.
Well, he retired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
so men's skill absolutely stacked, but I
still
actually
want to talk about women's skill.
I was gonna say there's even a better story in women's skill,
Yeah, I agree.
because we got returning Sydney Olsen, who worked her way up to being basically like a style champion to winning skill, and
So hold on a second. So she's actually every women's style event she's participated in at NAPC, she's won. So like literally every time she's participated in women's style, she's won, right? So she's known for that.
Be beat on that.
But then she came into the women's skill competition in 2017, and in 2017 she came in third, and Rene Dambly won. 2018 comes around. Renee's injured. She doesn't show up. And Sydney, or sorry.
No, you got the year wrong.
I got
That's
the year
Camilla,
wrong.
I think.
No, sorry. 2018.
You're drunk, Tom.
I'm not drunk. Wait, no,
You don't know.
2018. All right, no, I got my years mixed up. So wait, what happens 2018?
I mean, I don't think the years matter too much.
It matters.
It's that basically like Rene Dambly hasn't competed in Vancouver at one of our pro competitions in a few. She missed a few turns, and I think every time she competed in skill,
2018, Rene won, and Sydney competed, and she came in third. 2019 came around, Sydney won. Rene didn't participate. She was injured. So Renee's actually the most decorated SPL athlete in history. She's been on the podium for more events than anyone else in the history of SPL. So
and she's coming back.
She's coming back.
And she's healthy and she's looking stronger than ever. And now we've got the current champion in Sydney Olsen, and then the former champion in Rene Dambly, and we're finally going to see it
a
after
unification
basically 5 years
match,
right?
in a way.
Yeah, it's super interesting to see. We've got all-time great Alyssa Serpa coming back.
I know Alyssa's back, and that was a crazy
She's
announcement.
Farming right now.
Yeah, well, she's not anymore, but
Okay.
but she moved to a different city, so she doesn't live in Vancouver anymore.
Yeah,
doesn't work at the gym, but she's very much living that training out in like rural area by herself, sort of thing. And it actually came as a bit of a surprise because I kind of had sort of wrote her off in terms of competition. I knew she was still doing some parkour, but I didn't know she had interest in competing. And then when we had to give her an invite because of previous status, and she it was, you know,
Chomped at
it was right away. Yes. So, you know, she's excited to come back and, you know, show that she still does it.
Nice. Moving on, or are we done with skill?
We got Tam.
There's more people we
Tam,
talk,
I mean,
we talk
it's-
about Tam. Like,
Tam- oh, yeah.
I mean, she's such a great.
Well,
athlete.
you were part of Queen City.
Yeah.
Like the film.
I mean, I wasn't really. I was there. I was peripheral to Queen
you're
City.
You're somewhat.
I
You were-
did
you
have a
were in the
credit.
film.
I did have a like even 2 credits, like production assistant or something. So
There you go. You were part of it.
God, the athlete's coffee.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Tom and I
So you
have,
basically were the brains behind.
I'm
it.
essentially. Thank you.
You are
guys.
Queen
You're
City.
welcome.
Tom and I had both agreed after watching it that like Tam was the star. Like she comes off amazing on camera, both like physically what she does, but also her personality and everything. And I think like an entire documentary could be made on just her. And yeah, she's always like great to see perform. She has some very special physical abilities. And so
She also doesn't seem to be afraid at all of heights. Like it's so weird training with her. Like
Which is funny because that Queen City clip was the one thing where she didn't
do the jump.
She didn't
that
do the jump, and I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, this is totally a Tam." Like she got up there, and I went, "Of course, Tam found that."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, it's a really humanizing clip for Tam because I see Tam as this
Yeah.
like superhero, almost like, oh, she commits to something, almost like a dom. Like I feel like when she commits, she's just gonna do it.
Yeah.
To see her
Well,
like
what
hold
what was
back.
awesome about that clip too is like she like didn't do it, and then she like goes and finds this dope line, right? Like right
Yeah,
after that,
after,
it's like,
yeah,
oh,
it
okay,
doesn't
cool.
really feel like
Yeah.
He doesn't seem phased by it, you know. Like
Yeah.
she's not like, oh, I'm so upset I didn't
Yeah.
commit to this jump.
No, she trains
whatever.
for fun, and it's awesome. I think that comes through a lot. I think that's why she ended up being the stars because when she trains, she has a smile on her face, and she trains because she really enjoys it, and you feel that when you watch it.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to watch her like not think like, oh, we'll get this for the IG. She's just like, no, I enjoy doing it, so I'm doing it. So you feel me cool. So
We can talk about speed.
we can't move on to speed
I mean, I'm ready.
because we'd already brought it up, so we got to talk about him more. Is Joseph Henderson
Yeah.
returning, and it's crazy because like he was. I think when you think about SPL and you think about NAPC and you think about speed, you think about Joseph Henderson. Did he compete against Mish?
He did, yeah.
Okay.
He beat Mish.
So Mish was
But-
like this unbeatable force for the longest time until
But
Joseph Henderson came
In
along.
fairness, Mish kind of messed up. It was like Joe kind of like swooped in and had a clean enough run to get through, but Mish like messed up on the final course, which basically caused him to come in second.
That was the when he swung across the foam pit. Is that
for Mish, oh no, I don't think so. No, but that's part of why Hendo is so good is because he seems to always be able to pull out that perfect run at the perfect time, and there's
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it came back to bite him. I think the same thing happened to Hendo that happened to Mish was he messed up and Max Barker.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
Well, that's
One
why the
that year.
consistency is crazy, and that's why like you look at I'm gonna make some analogies to UFC because I know that you guys get them,
That's good.
and I want to talk
do
about
it.
that stuff. But it's kind of like a Volkanovski kind of type person. It's like his fight might not always be the most exciting, but it is exciting because he's a brilliant mixed martial artist. And now you just notice like he's just so good defensively, he doesn't get hit, and that's why you can see him. He just never makes a mistake. Or John Jones never makes hardly, ever make all the greats. They have the great aggression and they have all the, offense. But what really makes them great is what I heard recently is, they have that defense developed where they don't make that error. And I used to give myself a hard time because when I was competing, I would always be like, oh yeah, Mish is better, Dylan's better, but like they fell, that's why I won or something, or I placed. And then I was like, well, you know what? That's something just to not be fallen. So like, I used to give myself,
It's funny you say that because I also picture you as being one of the greats of SPL history.
for sure.
Like definitely like in
I
terms of like
appreciate that.
like that era, it was like so interesting to watch Mish, Dylan, and Brandon. It was always you three on the top, and there was nobody else that could come close, right? And anytime you guys were battling,
definitely
it
it was epic to
those
compete
positions
with
were
those
just
guys
changing,
for sure.
right? It was just like
Yeah.
Dylan, Mish, Brandon, Dylan, Mish. It was just
It was
constantly
a little
like, shifting
shuffle
around.
situation. It was yeah, I mean, I would never have been as what I think I was without those guys. Like there's something about, it's like, we don't fight in the octagon, but they say like, you know, what you leave a piece of yourself in there. You just get to know somebody through those kinds of things. And that's what I loved about that, you know, and what I still love about watching SPL or, you know, when I was in it, competing in it. Oh, nice ankle pop.
Right?
It was like savage one.
So there's a bit of a rivalry. Also, I don't know if you could call it a rivalry. It felt like it in 2019. Because when Brody was in there, David Nelms, so Brody Prost and David Nelms and Joseph Anderson. David Nelms was just coming off of winning a lot of those big comps, right? And really celebrating it too. Like at least when we saw on like IG, you know, like really like celebrating, like, oh, I'm winning these. And there was some messaging in between like those three about, you know, finally competing, and then we got to see it. What actually happened, most people probably don't even remember this, in 2019, is Brody edged Joseph Henderson in the first course, which was crazy because Joe, and we also had like Charles Pujado out there, who was just
he's another
absolute tank.
He's not coming back for this one though,
no,
unfortunately. But sorry, keep going.
And then as Tom had mentioned earlier, like Brody had to pull out due to injury, been part of the comp, and you know that's. Talking about what you're talking about, it's like, well, sometimes it's just not messing up, not getting hurt.
It's the strength of schedule like thing too. It's like when someone's a great champion or they're having a great reign, but it feels like there's something missing because this person didn't show up or this person was injured. Like it's not that they're not champions or whatever, but you just want to see like. That's why this event that's coming up this year is so epic, because it is like a unification of a lot of different sort of interim belts maybe that might be floating around if you were looking at it that way. Again, I love the UFC stuff, and I love that you guys do pay-per-view, and you clearly pull from that model, you know, and I think it's the best. It's the one that I watch most vigorously. And actually there's a long history with me and NAPC and UFC. The first UFC event I ever watched was at your house after NAPC won. In 2013, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what the main card was?
I think it was Benil. It wasn't a pay-per-view. It was just a like fight night or some shit. But it was, I think, Benil Dariush was fighting some dude. I can't remember the other guy. But that seems kind of like too long ago for him to have been fighting. So maybe it wasn't that.
No, he's been around for a long time.
But yeah, I remember just being blown away because. I mean, I would smoke the joint, to be honest, but also I was like, I was also just like in a celebratory mood, and I was just like, we were watching, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like smearing the Vaseline on, the whole pomp and circumstance, Bruce Buffer, like it was all just new to me, and I was just like, this is so cool and entertaining. And ever since then, I've been, you know, in love with it. So I've always looked to them too for what can we do better, because I think in parkour, it's really helpful sometimes, especially if you're trying to put on a bigger event and like really draw more attention. It's like, what are these most highly successful accelerating promotions doing? And I think that's really cool that you guys are modeling it this way.
Yeah, it's almost like just drawing the parallels to it, because I think a lot of guys that do parkour, at least they see themselves, you know, like a prize fighter sometimes. and it's interesting because like parkour to most people is not that, you know, we're always cursed with like the Office reference, and Tom's like talked about this before, where it's like parkour kind of needs more of that, where it's like, no, like like if you're staring down like a jump that's like, you know, 16 feet across, whatever, and there's like a drop in between or something, and you're trying to land on this narrow ledge, and just like all kinds of crap could happen, and like you really have to tap into something that's not, I don't know, it's not nerdy. It's not, you're not tapping into like parkour, you know, it's
you're facing down some fears, and you gotta like you gotta pull it out and put it on the line, right?
Yeah. And I think with like I think competitions like the ones we put on, they can show that, right? They can, when you see like the final events in skill or like speed courses or whatever, and the prep and just like the intensity, right?
Oh my God, it's amazing. And there's some really crazy moments that happen. I mean, it's
Like
always
that
a crazy
clip, Dylan,
moment.
that you posted of Ed Scott.
Oh my God, amazing. I put up this video
Oh yeah, I
today.
saw it. Yeah, I know
It's
exactly.
got best
the one.
celebrations in the game. He lands and it's just hype and he's charging into this crowd and people are storming him. And I was like, this is a moment. Like, this is, I love it.
I still think Zen had the best celebration of him landing the triple and like freezing for a sec, like cool guy pose, like third attempt, and then hitting him of like, I just landed that, like freaking out. Like that was, I think, my favorite like moment of SPL of all time.
I think
like,
he cried too. That
yeah,
was
he
like-
did.
That was
But
like
there was a
really
second where
emotional moment.
he looked like the coolest, like him and Dante, right? We're trying to hit that triple.
Yeah.
And it was third attempt. Dante didn't land it. Zen goes up and he hits it. And he just like, I think he hit it and just posed like B-boy stance, just like, and then realized he hit it. And I was like, that was the coolest 1 second I've ever seen a human look of just like, nailed this move, do something. And then like, even he couldn't handle how awesome it was.
Oh man. Yeah, I love all like the moments in style are always just super memorable, but also the moments of like intensity that are created in speed and skill where you're just like, this guy's got to hit it flawlessly right now and he's the last to go, or no one's hit this gap. And you know,
I mean,
then
it
somebody
happened this
does it.
weekend. This weekend was like
That was-
one of the coolest moments in any competition I've seen.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like, I mean, it was literally the last competitor in the last moments.
In the
and,
last
like,
challenge.
The very last challenge, and he nailed it. And so that was like, I literally like, I had my hair standing straight up, and I was the skill judge too. So I like called it. I was like, good. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I can't believe he got it in. He squeezed it in literally at the last moment.
Yeah, it
That was amazing.
That was pretty wild.
Can I bring us back to speed?
Bring it back to speed,
Please
please.
do.
Thank you.
Because we were talking about David Nelms and the fake comps and stuff like that, and I think there's quite a bit of debate around the how do you call them, like the tandem runs,
Mhm.
and one of the criticisms, it's not direction changes, and I don't think that's actually the criticism to make. And I'll go ahead and say that even before the fake comps, because the original events to do that was like that commit free run, I think was is
I don't
am I
know.
getting that
There was
right?
a few. I
Off the
remember
block.
like the one that
Off the
Callum
block, yeah.
has that
Yeah.
famous ankle roll photo in Brazil or whatever. That was a
Yeah.
head-to-head as well. That
But
was
we
like
got the
linear.
hop the block, just like the linear straight
Yeah.
line, wall after wall after wall. And to me, actually, the problem is that there's no exciting move that happens,
Mm.
and there's no diversity, and these are things that are parkour.
Yeah.
So like if you're doing parkour, like say you're doing performing some sort of line, right? And some of us will train this way, and I think that's how like speed courses came to be. Is some of us, you'll try to do it faster. You'll record a clip of yourself or something, watch it, and be like, oh, okay, I kind of look like I'm just trolling along. I can hit that a lot quicker.
hmm
But you'll also try to increase the challenge. And oftentimes doing parkour on the street, if you're just looking at it from someone trying to understand A to B, it's like, oh, well, why did you do that? It's like, well, I was trying to increase the challenge and
Mhm.
increase the speed. So that's why I did the bigger jump. I could have ran around the wall, but I didn't. So with speed courses, we set up flags and stuff, so it's understood that you have to go this route. But what we always have tried to do with SPL is we try to pick points in the course where there's a big challenge to do, a big jump or a crazy set of strides across rails or something.
Or some kind of ascent or something, or like
Yeah.
Yeah.
really tricky
Just
navigate.
Something that would be really hard that someone that is just fast and strong can't necessarily do. And then we always give an alternative, because we don't often place our flags usually in ways that say like everyone has to do it this way.
Yeah.
And what we love to see is which is faster. So there'll be like a low route and a high route. And I think it does take, a bit of a parkour geek to really appreciate speed. But that's the biggest difference, is we have moments in our courses where like crazy gap jumps happen.
hmm
I haven't seen fuck all from that from a fig comp. It's just up, down, under bar.
Yeah, it reminds me
They
very
added
much
in
of-
like the ability to do like high rail strides, but it's like, that's it.
And they
That's
could
it.
easily change that. Like if they actually had a real parkour nerd that knows how to design a course that can push top level athletes to go just outside their comfort zone, be just risky enough that some people will do it, some people won't. And, like what you're talking about, because I've designed courses. I know exactly what you mean. And yeah, it's just like, it looks way too, it's like the speed climbing events in climbing, Olympic climbing. It's just like, cool, you're all doing the exact same movement. Who can do it faster? It's interesting to some people. It's not interesting to me. It doesn't feel like that's what is interesting about parkour. But,
and climbing, which I think that was
climbing, exactly.
Yeah. And you got people saying like, well, it's more entertaining because you get to see two people side by side.
Yeah.
You know where you can also do that with? Replays.
Yeah.
Buy the pay-per-view for those replays.
Oh, it'd be great to have you race the ghost like in video. Like it's just a little
and this
image
is all,
of like, oh, he's been beating me.
This is all stuff we're going to be able to do that eventually. This is all stuff we're working on. But yeah, it doesn't need to be. And I think like, sure, you could do a tandem model. It's going to be always tough with like, because it probably has to be a straight line. There's more to build out. And yeah, you can't do like the snaky courses.
Yeah. Or if you do have some like angles, it starts to be weird because then you have to equalize. Otherwise it's going to be like, all right, this person's got to tack off their left foot, but this one's the right foot. We need to like, I don't know. It just makes it way more complex. And then I don't hate it, but I know what you mean. It's just like, we don't need it.
And there's almost not enough, again, for someone, not enough strategy. And so I think about too, like some of the guys from out here, like we got Michael Slager coming out, who we're calling him the dark horse of the division, right? Because he's a guy that trains like seemingly trains like specifically speed for portions of time. In the past, we've had who's the other kid out here that quit? Seth.
Seth Wang.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say quit, but I don't see so much of Seth anymore.
He doesn't train much anymore. Yeah.
But these are guys that came up through like some gym cultures and like specifically trained speed in classes or with teams or whatever.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vinny.
Taking credit for everything.
I was both the coaches.
The point I'm getting at is they know strategy. And so one of the things we're actually going to be doing different this year with the final round of speed is runners will not get to see each other practice nor run the course live.
Love that.
And I think that's going to be interesting for your Brody Possums and your
I
Joseph
love
Henderson.
that. I've thought about that before.
Yeah.
Because they're like they have the proven ability, right?
Yeah.
They have the proven ability that if they know the right way to go, they're running it the fastest. And so, they might have the strategy as well. We're going to find out, right? But it might allow someone like a Michael Slager to really take advantage of probably what he's quite good at.
Yeah, there's a certain chess game going on in competition where it's like everyone kind of knows it, especially if people start practicing the lines and stuff. But there is a little bit of like, what if I just don't do that part and I do it in the course? And now people can really, but it also begs the question, people are going to be looking at it like, I wonder what anyone else is going to do. And what I love about it is it incentivizes people to go fucking balls to the wall, really go for it, not play anything safe, because they just got to, I would assume if I was in the competition that someone's going to hit the fastest line. And so we're going to see the best out of everyone instead of people like kind of, we'll see what happens, what time they get. And then especially if you qualified whatever first, and then you have the chance to watch everyone, you have that advantage where you can be like, all right, I'll just give it 89% and that should be good enough.
And parallels to climbing again too. In climbing competitions, you don't see the other people compete. You're backstage, so you get that. I think you get 10 minutes ahead of time and you're allowed to look at the route and kind of do this. But then once that's over, one at a time, they come out and they don't get to know what the other person did to complete it. So I love that. It makes it super interesting to then come out and see someone else do it a totally different way and have no idea if the other person tried it that way, was successful, what happened. It's just you and the course at that point. So I love that we're doing it that way.
Yeah, well, there's always a moment you see when someone figures out like the beta of like what was actually the quickest route, and then it just like slowly starts infecting everyone else, and they like, drop what they were doing.
Oh man,
in regular. Yeah.
Oh man, that was like this is my only bad experience with SPL. Was one year we had the gnarly ascent challenge that I worked on.
Don't even say it. I don't want to hear this again.
The beta became you could just heel hook on top of the windowsill, and I was just like, I worked that fucking challenge for so long, and then it was like not really worth the risk reward anymore because it was like, well, also I fucking injured myself, so I wasn't. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have made a difference anyways. But I was just so frustrated because I was like, you shouldn't be getting away with that. You're supposed to, it wasn't faster. That's what it was. It wasn't like perfectly like known that it was faster because because climbing up where the pipe was awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
But climbing up where the ascent was like, you had all the room. You could just top out normally.
Yeah.
I remember like, sorry to bring that up. I didn't mean to.
No. It's just like, yeah, I know. I remember that moment, and I just remember watching it, and we didn't do anything about it. And it was like, oh, we should have done something about it. How did we let this happen? And it just fell apart. So I think we learned from that mistake.
Yeah. I think one thing people can count on from us is that mistakes happen. We've made tons of mistakes in the past.
I can't think of a single one from this last weekend. And
they hurt us almost probably just as much as
probably more
as the athletes involved, because we have to deal with like the fallout of it, right? It's like usually if an athlete gets burned for some reason because of a bad call or something that isn't quite fair, people tend to if it gets out there, people tend to like lift them up, we just get all this shit from it. So
it's not easy being the number one. Everyone's holding you guys to the highest standard because you are the standard. So I definitely sympathize. Like, I was actually wanting to bring that up. That was something I wrote down when I was thinking of shit I might have to ask you, which was, like you've mentioned, this is the longest running. This is kind of the only running skill and speed competition that's even had like a legacy or a history behind it. Most of these events, they pop up and they pop down the next year, or there's like a few, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
What's so funny, Vinny?
Well, I was laughing at pop up and then pop down. I thought that was a really funny way of mentioning.
Not the best.
But yeah, Apex International is a great example. Of a competition that, in terms of, wanted to work with SPL, right?
Well, and even that one, at least it had a few years of the invitational behind it before it became the international. But then as soon as it hit that top tier level where it was like, this is a huge production, it's so hard to maintain that for a number of years. And especially with the live stream, it's a fucking nightmare. I know it because we did it that year. And I had to do the graphics package, and like
I was on replays.
I was like, oh my God. So I just I know how hard it can be, and I respect that you guys have continued to push the bar and keep it going. Like, it's really appreciated, because fuck, who knows what it would be without SPL? I don't know what the space would look like. Might not be good.
It would look like fig comps.
Yeah, that'd be that exactly. It might not be good at all.
Last line of defense.
Well, then we got some, weird, hard to follow art of motion competitions too.
Yeah, Red Bull does have like their thing.
As much as I'm throwing shade, though, they did make some wicked improvements, and I'm excited to see what like the next year of Red Bull looks like, because if they separate some of their ideas, they got some cool stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
But it is just for
Red Bull's definitely paid their dues as well. It feels like they've made a lot of mistakes too, but we know that their heart's in the right place, and they do provide us like a lot of value every year, even if it's not like what we're looking for when we watch SPL, for example. But
like, I always feel like I come out in defense of Red Bull, because they've continued to do their event.
Yeah,
like every year,
exactly.
They're doing it. Like, they're doing Red Bull Art of Motion, even if it's like not what you thought. And you know what? You're probably complaining online about the result for one reason or another, but bottom line is you care enough to watch it. So like,
it matters.
It matters, right? It's like if it wasn't like very like if it didn't matter, you wouldn't be talking about it. So.
And it's introducing the sport to a group of people that might not otherwise be into it in a net positive way. Whereas like, Fig, if they ended up getting popular, at the end of the day, you'd be like, oh, people think that's what parkour is. And that's one of those ones where we go, not quite. But with this, it's like, that is what style is to a degree. And not everyone gets to jump on the roof of Greece on a boat. Yeah, that's a little bit, over the top, but this is a lot of what style does embody is, moving through an environment. So in a net positive way, new fans are created. Cool. So I think that is a big part of why I appreciate the art of motion, is because there's a whole group of people who are like, wait, what is this competition? I got into breakdancing, I got into making weird airplanes, and I got into parkour because of Red Bull just putting on crazy events. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of Red Bull as well. I don't know, like anything like, you know, I just love that SPL exists, because just the fact that you guys exist and the way you're doing it, it holds Fig and Red Bull just to like a different standard. Yeah, I think even if they're not going to do what your guys are going to do, at least it makes it so that like they don't get to own parkour. You know, they don't get to own parkour competition, because there is the people's parkour competition every year, and the athletes know it and they show up, and it's clear this year more than ever, like they're showing up to be a part of the event, you know, in many ways. I think Red Bull is also the event for style in some ways, but there's 2 events for style at least, you know, and then for skill and speed, it's like not even an argument.
I don't think there's any other like major skill parkour event.
No.
So, I mean,
and I think, and it's crazy because that's been your niche since the beginning, but like we talked about at the show, it's like, but your style event has always also just been, well, it's been like the pinnacle, you know, of
for sure.
What's happening every
it
year.
ends the show, and funny, we were finishing up with speed, and I was thinking, like, we talked about how skill and speed have these different generations of people coming in to compete against each other, but style has always been the one, especially on the men's side, of like, there seems to be a new person coming and throwing fucking bangers every year. And it's never been like, hope Joey's here again, who's going to get second. It's like, someone just smashed the comp.
Yeah.
And every year someone new is like taking that crown for the most part, like with a move that you just didn't think you were going to see, and out of nowhere, double side precision. And you're like, okay, what's next? How could it be topped? Oh, every year it gets topped. So I really like our our style competition for that reason, because there isn't a Brandon Dillon, you know, where you expect that with speed, like, oh, those 3 are going, let's see them, that's dope. It's like some kid's going to come from Europe and just smash everyone. And then he'll come back next year and he'll get smashed by some kid from America who saw that coming. So I love that about the style.
I do think though that Sydney Olsen is a force, and
on the women's side for sure.
It would be hard to mention like any other woman in the world in style that could beat her right now.
For sure.
And I think if you were placing bets, I think Ed Scott is it's pretty good. Pretty good odds.
Is Verky coming out? Oh, it
Verky's
doesn't matter
hurt.
anymore. He's
Verky's
injured.
injured.
Yeah,
I
he's
forgot.
hurt. No, he was supposed to come out, but yeah, he's
Yeah, that makes
he's not in
sense.
good shape.
But didn't Ed take second one year?
Always a bridesmaid. Poor Ed Scott with the Red Bulls.
Oh,
Never
Red Bull.
ever.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's going to be his year one year.
that's almost like a format issue, though, or is I think it is a format issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ed came out in 2018, but he was injured, so he couldn't compete. And in 2019, he came in and won. But I think you can make the argument that Max Antle could have won that event too.
Yeah.
Like his lines were excellent, and his big trick was bigger than anybody's big trick ever.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
But I think Ed's lines were slightly better, and that ultimately led to his victory. And
That's right. He took second in big trick, but still won based on his lines being so good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His second line was incredible. My mind was blown.
Yeah.
But then you always have people like Sean Higgins who come out and put on a show in a very unique way. I'm trying to think of like other style athletes that like have been consistently placing.
Nate Weston. Always a contender. I don't know if he's attending this year or if he's
not competing this year. I hope he comes.
Yeah.
There's actually just real quick too. Coming from out of town but not competing, Matt McCreary will be in attendance, and Bart will be in
to
attendance
support his fellow jump boy, or what are they called?
Spring Bro.
Spring Bro. Jump boy.
Rename
them. Oh shit! I'm showing
it's crazy when those names get dropped for me, because we're like, oh, they should compete. You know, we're talking to Bart, like, you should do style, you should do this. So, Matt McCreary, you should do style, and they'll come. Oh, I forgot one. Nico Van Hol is coming.
Ooh.
And so it's like, you should do skill, you know. And we have all this just
and skill would be a very interesting
but it just, I don't know, it makes me at least feel so good that they just want to watch the event.
Yeah, they're just coming to support us, right? And like just watch it and be a part of it. And that's so.
Yeah, you got to do the pay-per-view, the pan, like who's in the front row, like
yeah, get the wave to the. Yeah.
It'll be so fun. Oh man. I want to finish like talking about speed and then also talk about style. I mean, we are talking about it, and then I have some other questions, I guess. But is there anything else like?
Yeah, we haven't talked about women's speed. Yeah, so Tom already mentioned Rene Dambly, most decorated athlete in SPL history, coming back. She's had mostly like dominant performances in speed. Every now and then she's had, I think it was Kasia.
That year was the year that Rene didn't.
Sarah won. Sarah Waite speed, didn't she?
Sarah might have. Well, one year I thought it was when Kasia won. It was only because it was only her and Alyssa. I don't think Rene competed that year, and Alyssa had a fall, so Kasia won.
So as far as my memory serves, anytime Rene has competed in speed, she's won.
Yeah,
and you know she's got some people. I don't think she's ever faced Tam in speed.
I don't think so either.
Alyssa is not qualified for speed, but she might do an on-site to try to qualify. And then we have like newer emerging athletes like Louisa Chang coming out, who's shown like really impressive ways of dealing with height. So she's like pushing like the descent game more than a lot of other women we see. She's also just a powerhouse and just a solid all-around athlete. And then we also have just qualified this weekend is Taylor Carpenter, who's just complete beast and mostly specializes in speed. So I think it's, I don't know, I'm not sure, having not seen Rene Dambly compete in a while, like we're talking about her as like the GOAT basically right now, but you know, it could be anyone's game.
I have the data here.
Data.
So 2015, Rene came second speed.
Who to?
Alyssa.
There we go.
Okay.
2016, Alyssa came in second. Kasia came in first. There was no Rene Dambly that year.
There we go.
2017, Rene Dambly came second to Sarah Waite.
Yeah, that's right. That was the year.
Kasia came third. 2018, Rene first.
There you go.
And then 2019, she was injured, so she didn't compete. So yeah. The last speed event she participated in at SPL, she won.
Well, yeah, that is what. Yeah, I mean, that's always a part of the story of competition. Is like you don't know who's showing up or what version of them is showing up on any given night.
Yeah,
and that's why competition's so interesting.
So 2019, Camilla won, and so unfortunately, she's still coming back.
Yeah, I really Camilla's one of my favorite competitors, and so. I know she's still recovering right now, but I hope she's able. She's still very young, so I know she'll be able to make a resurgence, and I can't wait to see her again.
Yeah, 2019 she second in skill, first in speed, and third in style. So like,
that's right. She took one of each. She took the rainbow home. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Speaking of the triple threats, as we move on to style, are we ready to move on to style?
Let's do it.
I'm good. I feel
Jared
good.
Ludi.
Oh my God.
Nearly took the entire show yesterday or this weekend in the qualifier. Probably the only person who is eligible in the men's division, I think, to do all three and win all three. He's another kind of dark horse when it comes to speed and skill. I was impressed to see what he could do because he's always been super well-rounded, but he's also never been known for his skill and speed, but he might be making a name for himself now.
In 2019, so he didn't, I don't think we qualified him for speed in 2019 because he competed in Dallas.
Yeah, but there was two courses, right? I wasn't there, but
there were two courses and, they were way differently, but I think we did rank point for those courses. So it wasn't total time. Had it been total time, he would have won because there was one course that it was this crazy, so the Tempest Dallas gym, there's a part where they have like a logo. If you see it from the top, it's like a logo. And we did this thing where like you had to drop basically into the logo and there's just all kinds of crap in your way, right? So you had to deal with that. And then from there was like this really tricky ascent because they almost have like a sort of car park replica sort of thing. And so you had to ascend up and because that course, the two things he's very good at, dropping down, taking impact, and then ascending quickly, he was like 3 seconds faster than the next time on that one.
Wow.
Which, if you know speed, that's a ridiculous amount of
It's a
time.
light year.
I was so shocked when I saw that. He took like a 15-foot drop and just was sprinting right out of it. And I was like, oh my God, Jared.
So
yeah, and that was one of those events where I didn't realize till like after the event, like, oh, he didn't make it through. Okay. But the more I thought about it, like I've been thinking about it for like a couple, just since that event now, where I'm like, I would need to see this guy in speed. And like he was, for me, like I know Olaf is very good.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of other fast guys in this weekend, but I was expecting Jared Ludy to win for speed. As soon as I saw that he was doing all 3 events, I was like, yeah, he's going to win speed.
Yeah. And it's great. Like that's another thing. It's like to take on even 2 events is not a great strategy if you want to win one of them. But to take on all 3 and to really compete and potentially
win. He was still
win
training
all 3.
today.
I know.
He was still in the gym today doing like just crazy shit everywhere.
Unstoppable. Yeah, that kid is amazing. By the way, he's looking to go into the UFC after who knows what he's doing with when he's going to go into it. But I was talking last night. He was here watching the fights.
No way.
So we're gonna. I know that.
So is my herbal.
It's
not enough.
It's not enough. His parkour is not enough for Ludy.
How do we keep him in parkour?
I don't know. Prize money's got to go.
Yeah.
Maybe
As
these
cool
pay-per-view
as
points.
cool as that is for him, how do we keep him in parkour?
Maybe the parkour pay-per-view points will keep him in parkour. But hopefully we can talk more with him directly about that. But who else in style are we looking forward to? Obviously, he's
we can run down the existing list of pre-qualified athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Ed Scott returning. We have, just like Joseph Henderson, we got Max Antal, who we have not seen anything from pretty much since he landed that double side, although I think he had one crazy like banger Instagram
Right
reel.
when we were talking about it, I was like, I haven't seen anything from him in like a year, and then he drops like a 4-minute like mega clip of like one of his first moves.
Wow.
I was like, never mind, he's been doing
good.
things.
He's
good.
good. He's still good.
Yeah.
We got the Parkour Twins.
Oh my God! Yeah, the twins are in it.
Putting
We
up
got
bangers for
Kaylin
sure.
Chan.
We got Kaylin Chan, who's done things no one else has done before.
Yeah.
We got Dom, who hopefully finds the highest thing in the gym to front flip off.
Dom's
of.
gonna flip off of the top of the bingo sign and onto the fucking street.
Onto the street. As my trick is out. My trick is out here. So I'm try to run through these quickly, but who else we got?
I can pull it up.
Who did I miss?
Apologies to
Someone
everyone that
great.
we're missing.
I remember
in all of
I was
these
running
events.
through this
for
lineup
sure.
with Joey, and he was just like, "Oh my God, that's a crazy lineup."
Sydney Olsen.
Yeah, and women's division,
Yeah,
we have some
like-
heat coming in.
I actually I just saw a clip on Instagram today because we didn't mention him for skill, but
Is Noah coming for style this year? No. That's a little unfortunate. But she lives right next to the Full Ever Movement or whatever.
yeah,
right?
it was a conflict
Yeah.
of the events. Yeah,
That's like her home gym, I heard.
Yeah,
so.
she's like sponsored by it. So
Yeah,
I think she
makes
has
sense.
obligations to go.
but we didn't mention Jared Nahulu for skill.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
pre-qualified, and he just put a clip out today because he's in Seattle right now at Freeway Park, and he did
I saw it.
the style line he did, and I'm thinking, is he gonna try to do, because he obviously couldn't be here this weekend to try to do style, and I'm curious if he will come to on-sites for style because that's a big one. So he's just showing a video of Sei.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'll just go ahead and try. Sei Asakura.
Oh,
Saint
yeah,
Core.
yeah. Saint Core.
Saint
Yeah.
Core.
The homework was to do a combo, and we defined it by either having a plyometric connection, but you couldn't do a setup move in between.
This is for the online.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't do a setup move in between, so we didn't want to see like a move and then like a scoot to another move. We needed like a pop to something, and he did the best of just like, okay, this is the assignment, this is what you do. But he did something that, first of all, it's so clean. It looks like a friggin' video game. It's so damn clean, and I've never seen anyone else do that. So he does jump, 360 stride, triple cork.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I kind of.
He's got the style, dude. He's got like that X factor where it's not just clean movement. It's like it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
It didn't look hard. It just
know what I
looked
mean?
like it was like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
how he gets down from a wall.
But you're
Like,
talking about,
But, like, not-
you're talking about Zen landing
Yeah.
his triple cork and like just like looking like having some swag.
Like some people
Yeah.
just look safe doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And some people, I mean, safe is good,
Yeah.
but it's like they look like almost too safe. And some people look like it's just nothing. Like they just,
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about this is he submitted.
oh
He
yeah.
did. He did the 360 to triple cork,
Mm-hmm.
and then he posted again because he went back and did it a second time because he forgot that he had to show off the sponsor.
Oh, oh my God, dude.
He landed it just as clean. the second time.
Casually, yeah.
Different outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So-
next generation of athletes that's coming up is blowing. Oh wait, Ellis in the mix this year with you guys or no?
Ellis is also going to Fort Love.
Ah,
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
One of these
It's
days
tough.
we're
I
having
mean,
a unification
you know,
for those.
It's
events.
exactly. That was
Buy them out.
You know, we tried though.
Yeah.
We
We tried
really
to
tried
get
with
us.
him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We had this whole plan to work because we're doing a super camp
Mhm.
at Origins, right? And
Yeah.
that was a way to make sure some certain big names were coming out. Now he wasn't part of that. We ended up choosing for style. We ended up choosing Ed Scott because returning champion makes sense. But we were trying to get him to come through Boston, and we were going to basically find a way to pay for it if he was able to do a jam so that Dylan's Gym Hub in Boston could make the money back, and he didn't want to do it.
Oh, all right.
So I don't know if he wants to compete that bad. I
Shout out to
feel
Elias.
like we were kind of like jaded by it because like he's been showing up to some of these like FIG comps and not placing first.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up
and
to
this
Red
is
Bull and didn't place first.
yeah, and the I was almost in I
yeah.
said something wrong, but
Just gloss over that.
we
Gloss-
have,
yeah.
we have our little secret about another event, but so he's just not coming in first, and then yet online everyone's like he's the best in the world, and I feel like we have an event where we could truly play to his strengths and show that, and he doesn't want to come. So
You're gonna come, Ellis. Just wait, just one day.
hopefully next year. Hopefully next year there's none of this stuff going on. Hopefully flights are cheaper and everything.
It is.
But
It is a beast.
it's hard too because he's getting flown around for free. So these other things, and we don't have the funds to do that. We can't pay for everyone to come out. So
Yeah, that's tough.
we could talk about the competition we ran this weekend. Yeah, we're on open.
Yeah.
A quick summary of what
It
happened.
was like a
Right,
mini
just,
NAPC. I mean, it was, or a
yeah.
mini SPL1. It was.
Speaking
it
of
was
young guns
highly
coming up.
shot. Or
yeah.
lots of crazy talent.
All right, let's do it.
Give us a
Outrun
quick-
Open. So the Outrun Open was held at Outrun Parkour, which is they just built this gym over the pandemic,
Yeah. 2 years, yeah.
based from the ground up, and it's in Fort Collins, Colorado here. So we were like, well, this is a sexy looking gym. Let's do a nice, sweet event here. So and it's new, right? So it's like untapped. So yeah, we put it together, and we flew over here on my birthday.
yes, we did.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Tom.
birthday. Tom.
Thank you.
I'm not saying it.
Yeah. Huh?
What?
You're
Say
not saying
yippee.
it?
I'm not saying
You're
it.
not saying what?
I think it was a
You're
great
not
birthday
saying it.
weekend.
He says
though.
yippee.
I said yippee.
Yippee.
You
You,
didn't-
always say it.
I do. Because what did
You didn't give me a yippee this year.
You were at home.
He literally wasn't.
He wasn't home. You
I
flew.
He was literally in Colorado.
I know he wasn't home. If you were home, I would have given you.
No. Get out. So we organized the comp in like a few days, and it came together really well. I think overall, it was great. Skill. We actually had a homegrown athlete from Origins come through.
That was the moment we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So his name's Holden Clark, and he's been around for probably almost 10 years. He started when he was like 10 or 11. And what?
We're having a moment. Don't worry about
You
it.
having a moment? Oh, okay. It's a good moment. And yeah, I think he surprised everyone in the room,
That was by like
including myself.
for sure. I mean, there was no one who wasn't on their feet, ecstatic to see a last second. Can't believe you hit a challenge that only one other person had hit during that competition to beat the person who was the only other person to hit that. And then not only that, he hit the challenge that only 2 other people had hit casually.
He snaked first place from
Jared.
He snaked it.
He snaked first place from Jared, who would have had the Triple Crown, first place in all 3.
Yep.
But literally the last competitor, last 0.1 second.
Yeah.
And
on the last obstacle.
And right before it starts, Vinny looks at me and he goes, "We have a 3-way tie for 3rd place." And then as Holden is going, he hits 2 challenges and Vinny's like, "Oh my God, we have a 4-way tie."
That's now a 4-way tie for 3rd
place. And then he just keeps hitting challenge after challenge. I'm like, "Oh my God, is this going to happen?"
Yeah. Like he hit the 3rd challenge and I'm like, okay, he's in 3rd. He hit the 4th challenge, I'm like, oh, he took 2nd. And then he hit the 5th. I was like, he just won on that challenge. That was
he won on the bonus point.
He won on the bonus point.
Would have tied, right?
He would know.
Because Jared hit one more challenge than him the day before.
He would have
hit one more challenge the second day, but then because he finished all 5, there was a bonus point, right?
He finished all 5 the fastest he got his bonus point.
Fastest.
If he didn't get it, he would have lost. He would have took 2nd.
Exactly.
So it was he had a total score of 10 versus Jared's 9.5. If there wasn't that bonus point, if someone else had finished all 5 faster, he would have had a 9. He would have taken 2nd with that bonus point.
Oh, but if he interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
So the whole thing was super, super close.
It was actually Vinny who informed me that he won. I was just like, stoked that the moment was like, basically, I'm emceeing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see the last challenge he hit.
You're saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm. The last challenge he hit, the Kong Prix. So he had like 40 seconds left, and he's just like, just amping up, and he let out. He does this thing. This thing. He went whoosh. That's like as you don't know, that's like a karate thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. and then he runs at the wall and like stops. He does like, I'm actually not gonna Kong. Like, I'm scared. And I was like, oh crap. You just like, because I saw him doing some Kongs before he started, like next to Jared. They were both hitting the Kong Prix and landing similar height. And I was like, well, if Jared had the power for it, I think Holden has the power for it. And then he sends one and he lands it in my view. Because I was standing like my point of view. Sorry, not like my
his feet opinion. Are kind of like in between walls. No one could really see exactly except the judge.
Yeah, who again, like we enter these things sometimes when like a situation like this, I'm always like, oh, I don't want there to be like a bias around this.
Mm-hmm.
But it also sucks because like during the event, I'm thinking like, oh, he's messing up his speed practice. He's doing this wrong. He's doing like, I just want to, just say a word at him or something,
Yeah.
And we can't do that. And so Tom calls it as a no.
I put
no
the
stick.
X up. His foot slipped,
and I looked
he
down.
landed. I like from the standard that I have of what is a stick.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't justify giving him.
Do you know why his foot slipped?
Why?
He toe clipped on that Kong.
On the Kong?
Yeah.
Did he really? Oh,
Yep.
I didn't notice that.
Ooh.
But yeah, so he lands
really close.
He lands. His left foot slides forward, but he's there, and he looks over at me, and then you could just see his eyes like no. So he then runs back and he's like 5, 4, 3, and then he starts going, and then he hits it. He nails it, and like literally 0 seconds left on the clock.
Not even super clean, but like way clean enough. But then like he lands it and just gives like that little wiggle where everyone's like bated breath, like, oh shit, is he gonna overshoot? Is he gonna step out? And
there was a collective gasp.
And he goes a little forward and like just stops.
Yeah.
And then that was.
And then I put the good up, and it was he.
That's pretty wild.
Celebration. Yeah. So it's such a great moment. One of my favorite moments in probably any competition I've ever seen. I don't think that round has ever come down to that the same way.
No, we had some I think we had some buzzer beaters like in women's skill in the community round in 2019, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like I think actually was it Hannah Kim that did
no, it was what's Megan.
Yeah, Megan. Yeah, sorry, no, Hannah
but
Kim.
that was the different round though.
Yeah, in the community round. Yeah. But we do like, and that was the thing. Like he landed, and I had thought that he had got it, so I was like, okay, it's done. Tom puts up the X, and I look down at the timer, and it's like 5, 4, like just because I try to actually I did this for a couple guys because I know this is a possibility where someone will get it, and so I think those countdowns are important because you got to make sure like get the person amped up, go for one more, and we actually had quite a few. It's hard to keep it going for 2 minutes. You got to be in freaking good shape because we have some people throwing up X's with 20 seconds to go because they're just gassed.
Just give up.
It's absolutely crazy. You were saying like because he was fatigued, it gave him like just the right amount.
Yeah. I felt like he overshot the first one a little bit, and then like because he was like gassed and had to run back to the start and go right away, it like depleted his energy just enough to like allow him to get the distance to stick it. Oh wow, it was such a moment. Yeah, I mean, we already kind of mentioned Jared's like Jared came first in speed, and there was like some pretty good competition there, but I mean, I don't think anybody was close to really touching Jared. But second and third was definitely a competitive.
That final risky jump he did too, like on the second course.
He missed it.
Yeah. Or was it the
first course?
The first course, yeah. The first course where he really pulled ahead and he actually like bounced back the finish and then just like a friggin' animal just like pulled himself over the wall. Yeah. But Olaf was actually the one that did the course the way that we had seen in designing it as the fastest. He did there's a tic tac at the end. And he told me last night, he said he didn't practice that. He had already kind of, because it's his home gym, right? And so he had already kind of practiced that and knew it was the fastest, and he like held it because he didn't want to show anybody. So we talked about this. Because I told him about the blind runs that we're planning for SPL1, so he's very excited for that if he makes it that far.
See, Olaf actually didn't even come in first in that course, though.
Oh, yeah,
neither did Jared. Yeah.
Brennan
Stahl.
No. Jared came in first still on that one.
Yeah. No, he didn't in the first course.
Yeah, he did.
I think someone beat him by.
No, he was in first for
14. Oh, you're right. He had a 12.
13
he had a 12, and it was a 13. It was a second course, so he didn't come in first.
Yeah. But Brennan Stahl took a low route. And I was like, there's no way this guy's going to do well. And then he came in second on that course. And I was like,
pure aggression and speed, dude. Sometimes it's just like the X factor.
Apparently he's a sprinter.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got quick ground contact.
Yeah.
And he's still like, I mean, he can do parkour. He's still like fairly confident, or competent, but he's still like kind of like working through the skill around making parkour, like the technical side of it work. So I'm really excited to see what happens with this kid. Because he's got the wheels.
He also speaks at like a frenetic pace.
Yeah.
I was talking to him last night. I was like, "Oh, this is why you're good at speed courses."
That nervous system is just firing.
It's just constant ram overdrive.
The style though, style was
flawless.
Style.
There are some things.
Yeah. Well, Jared won style.
Jared won style.
Yeah.
We could say, Ryan's shoe came off, and everybody thought he broke his ankle.
That was terrifying from the office.
So he hits double side on his line, and is the first move. He lands well, and then is gonna go into his next move, and then he realizes his shoe is coming off, and he's like, "Oh no, what do I do?" So then he stopped, and then he's like, "What do I do?" And then Rene was like, "Well,
you should have kept going.
You should have kept going." So unfortunately, he didn't get a score, but we still let him like do the course
just to like show what he
do
could
his
do.
line anyway.
Yeah. By the way, I spoke to Ryan's dad. So Ryan Abiyoung, his dad Angel, owns Sessions Gym in California, and I talked to him after. He was really happy that was the call made. I can't say happy, but he was like, yeah, that was the right call. Because he knows like Ryan's been doing a lot of youth comps, and I was like, yeah, if that was a youth comp, I would have been like, go again. Yeah, no one wants to see a kid cry. So, but it's like it's an adult 14. Comp. This is for a pro
though, and super. I mean, that's another one where you're just like, where is this kid going to end up? I mean, where's the sport going to end up when he's matured?
Well, he started the line with double side, and then goes through, does a bunch of other stuff, and finishes with a triple full, screw triple, and it's just like, who has the capacity to do just triples at the end of a really long style line like
Not
that?
from very high up.
Yeah, exactly. So
what
it
a
was
legend.
insane. So
In the making already.
I think that line probably would have scored the highest if it would have counted.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't quite make it through to the podium. But yeah, I think he learned a very important lesson, which is tie your fucking shoe.
Go tie her next time. Use that last lace eyelet. If you're not already.
Yeah. We also had a lot of fun in the women's divisions. Just, I mean, not the biggest turnout, and that's been kind of something that's just kind of been happen this year. Is not big turnouts for women. I mean, various reasons. I guess we talked about like for the love of movement, and that's so for our pre-qualified athletes, lots of no's from a lot of international women. But we had a really fun turnout. There's we got the two Mels, Mel McQueen and Mel Wheeler, and or I should say the Mel, Mel Wheeler. And I was talking to the Mel after the comp, and she's not really there to compete so much as like just to show. She's very extroverted, and she's obviously likes being in front of a crowd. And we also have a woman back home at Origins, Brenda. And both of them are, really keen to try to just get more women in. And how do you do that? Well, it's like you show up.
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully, I don't know exactly who was in attendance or who know about the event, but hopefully when they see women like Mel coming in, that they realize like, okay, I don't have to win this thing for it to be meaningful, right?
Yeah, that's very powerful that she brings that level. That's one of the reasons why Kira ended up competing and winning.
So happy.
Just like
so happy.
Yeah, no, it was great.
She crushed it. I think it's funny because like a few years ago was the first time I saw Kira compete. The only thing I knew about Kira was she was on the cover of Parkour Strength from a long time ago, and saw her compete at Apex Denver, and it was a speed comp, or she did speed, and she did like a high line across some bars, and it wasn't the fastest route. It was actually like a needless high line, but it was so freaking impressive. And it was just like, oh, if you had a better strategy, you probably would have won. Yeah. But like, I'm also glad you did like the really impressive route. And
she also was doing during the skill comp, she was doing that stride.
The stride breathe. Yeah, that was huge. Right?
Because was she like 5 foot?
Yeah, I mean, no, she's not that short actually. I think she's not tall.
No, yeah. So,
but yeah, we call her the tiny giant because she's just like, she's always doing like big stuff for her size, and she's like big personality for her size sometimes. Yeah. And she ends up doing kind of her own thing. She's always kind of playing her game. That's why she's like, I could do the strategy, but I want to do this line.
Yeah.
We see that sometimes. It is like special to have that too in a competition. I remember there was one year when you could like go into the foam pit and it was like okay. Yeah. But like I think it was Rene or Alyssa, one of them or both of them maybe were like, no, we're going across. Yeah. Because we're not going in the goddamn foam pit. And it didn't like help their time, but
no, like that. I think that was one of the, like if you go back at the stats and we compare it, that was probably the year that Alyssa didn't take first.
That was the year Kaja won.
Yeah. And then we also have Michaela Quinn. Yeah. Who's just like a force.
Yeah, she crushed it.
She's already pre-qualified for style and speed. And so now she's also doing skill, and she's kind of someone who's also like in a similar position to Jared Ludi, where we were talking about the speed lineup and the skill lineup earlier, and we didn't mention her. Yeah. So she's someone like who very much like Jared Ludi. We could see her on all three podiums.
For sure. Let's see here. What time are we at? I wanted to get it like maybe a nice little sort of broader view topic real quick of just like how did you guys are a team, and like how have you kept this running for so long? Like how do you do it? Why do you do it? Like this this ain't easy. I know it's not easy. You guys, it's fucking 1 a.m. right now.
Stubbornness.
You guys have fucking went all day for 3 days in a row. I know you've been up late doing this stuff, and give us a little insight. Like, what is it that makes this still work over the years? Because like we were talking about earlier, it's so hard to keep it going for a number of years, and you guys have put on, and you're not even when it gets harder, you're gaining momentum. It feels like. So
if we don't do it, who will? You know, like a big part of it. Like I always wanted to compete in something like this when I was a kid, and I competed in SPL, and I loved it, and I want my students to have something to go into and grow into, and that's a huge motivating factor for me, and the concerts are so much fun. They're so fun to see everyone push so hard, and it's awesome to see people trying their hardest at parkour and being into it and being, you know, that's why I love doing it.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what Dylan just said. I think that the one thing that kind of came to mind immediately when you asked that question was I'm a fan. And as a fan, I want to see it. And so because I want to see it, I have to make it happen. And it just so happens that I think like this all kind of fell together and we started doing it. And, you know, when we started, because we started doing it, we can't just stop now. Like, if anything, like now is the best time to do it.
Yeah.
Like, especially like this year, especially after coming off of 3 years of not doing it and just feeling like, okay, like we stopped doing it and now we could feel it's like bubbling underneath the surface. Is like people are really itching for this to happen again. And so yeah, I mean, we came back with essentially a rebrand for what we're doing with the event, and I think ultimately I'm more excited than anybody to see what happens at this thing. So I'm a fan. That's why.
I think when we started with like the first NAPC, it was the first time that I felt like I was part of something that I jumped on, where I felt like we had a good idea and someone else was going to jump on it. Because there's been so many times in parkour where I felt like, oh, I could do this, but no, I'm not going to be the one to do that though. Like, or I don't know enough, or I don't want to, you know. And it was a bold move because we came out with this title, North American Parkour Championships, and a lot of people like hated on it right away. But we were just like, well, we had invited the best in North America, and there was, you know, another organization out there called like World Freerunning and Parkour Federation.
Yeah. And,
you know, people out there trying to like trademark parkour and stuff. And it's like, well, we got to jump on this like generic name before anyone else grabs it. And again, it was like the first time that I felt like, okay, I know this is the way to do this. This is like Tom and I we had done tons of comps before that. And actually like flex a bit now. I was trying to actually think the other day, like how many comps we've organized. Like I'm sure over 20 at this point. I don't think there's going to be like some gym owner out there like I've done, you know, 30 or so. It's like, okay, but not at this scale, right? So like all like, and that's top, that's you know, we've done fun comps, we've done like funny themes, we've done, you know, like tricks for treats, we've done season speedings, we've done all the way up to, you know, NAPC, right? Yeah, you like that one.
That's a good one.
And yeah, that was the first time where it was like, it was just, you know, making the bold move, and then it's just been sticking with it since, because it quickly became like celebrated, and people, you know, when's the next one? So after the success of the first one, it just made sense to keep going. And now it's like, I always just want to be able to like see what do I want to see? You know, what do I want to see with parkour? What do I want to see happen with parkour? And just so happens that we're in a position where you can make that happen. You know, it's like, what do I want to see a parkour competition look like? We always want to reflect the sport at this in a way that, you know, makes athletes feel appreciated for what they're good at, instead of making them do some other weird sort of format, and make it feel like it is to like what it's like to do it on the street. And we also want to make it entertaining. And so it's always a bit of a puzzle to figure out both. And it just, I was thinking about this quote from DMX It's kind of a weird. I know it's late, guys.
Can't wait to hear. Yeah.
This was actually like right before he passed, and I was watching like a clip. I think actually, I don't think he's the one that posted it, but I remember like Tom Taylor had messaged me about it too when I had like reshared it. And it's like someone asking him like who's the best rapper of all time, and I think there's like another rapper with him, and they say like, oh, this person, and DMX is like, I gotta say myself, you know, and like part of it was like, yeah, like I write what I like, you know, was his reason on it, and I feel the same way. I feel like we're the best. I feel like we're putting out what we like to see, and that's why we're going to continue to be the best.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's your next quote.
This is
Dude, who's got the best X voice right now?
You're just
About what I like.
well, I actually kind of build on that. Rene, I remember years and years ago, I think this must have been when we were probably first organizing the North American Parkour Championships. Basically all of the opportunities for athletes to compete were through style, right? So it was free running, right? Free running competitions, you know, and they were ubiquitous. There was, you know, Red Bull, there was Barclay card, there was, you know, it was easy, right? Everybody thought, okay, well, you can compete in free running, but you can't compete in parkour. And I remember a discussion we had, I don't remember if you said it, if I said it, but it was basically the concept of parkour is too cool to like let die and to like not like test in a competition format. And so that's why we're like, we got to be doing speed, right? So like speed is like the original concept of parkour, despite not many people actually practicing speed like speed. And then we added skill because originally we used skill essentially as a qualifier to get into the speed comps.
Yeah, I remember the Tempest games were like that.
Yeah, it was like
it
was a way for
Seattle Summit had like a competition. That was one of the first ones I ever did that was the first time I'd ever seen a skill format. And I was like, oh, that was the first time I met you. Funnest time. This is the funnest part of the competition.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that like, even if you don't like, I don't know, it's just fun to be a part of it. Even if you're competitive or not, like you just end up enjoying it because that's the one that's kind of the most mirrored to training.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and so, yeah, and that's what we realized is like, okay, so we were using skill to qualify into speed because we were like, well, we don't want like just anybody doing speed because you can get hurt doing speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were
that was also before we devised ways to incentivize certain routes. So it was actually like challenging, and this is what people will find when they try to make speed courses is it can be challenging to make it where like a skilled person wins. Someone who's just like tenacious enough can just play the course.
Course design is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to pay attention to like what's happening, what's topical, what can people do right now. If you don't know, then you guys do a great job of that. But please continue.
Yeah. Well, and that just kind of that started as like, okay, this is just a way to filter out some people to get into the speed event, and then we started realizing how fun it was. And we started going in one direction that Tempest actually went into with the Tempest games, which was like, let's measure scale, right? Like how far can you come? How high can you dyno? You know, whatever. And then I remember, you know, just talking about this and reflecting on it. It's like, is that what makes parkour cool? Like how far you can go? Like, or is it the context that you put it in? Is it the thing that like, is it how far you can jump, or is it jumping far on a rail at height? Is that what's cool, right? So, or like the complexity of the technical components of like what makes this like a skill challenge like unique and hard and interesting to watch, right? And so that's, you know, and then we realized like skill is actually like the real parkour competition. And speed I still love. I love participating in speed competitions whenever I can. I'll take speed class every now and then because it's super fun to run them, but skill is ultimately the best reflection of what we do. Unless you're into flips, and that's why I style.
Skill is the best thing, unless you like the other stuff.
Unless you're like many of the people that practice. But
well,
yeah,
and that's why we have all three, right?
Yeah.
It's because we want to have an outlet for essentially all three disciplines, all ways of doing the sport. And we don't cover everything, right? There's no geek parkour competition that we do.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't know.
That's my term.
Yeah.
I was actually about to say.
Can you define geek parkour for us?
Ooh, geek parkour. Yeah, it's okay. So first of all, if you look at it and you can hear Steve Carell, definitely geek parkour.
Got it. Okay.
If you can hear Steve Carell as it's happening, definitely geek parkour. But mostly, it's so parkour has this thing, and I think Tam actually talked about this in Queen City, where it's like, where she talked about it's like there's so many different moves that involve just like throwing yourself. You know, it's like okay, like a dino is like a jump, a lache is actually a jump. You know, a jump is a jump, a Kong is a jump, right? But it's like when you take those things and you're like, what's the the weirdest, lowest thing I can do this on? Instead of like the most, that's geek parkour. Just for the pure challenge. I just want to see if I can just, swing through this thing with out hitting my butt on the ground and then somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's like a Jackie Chan move. Something like I think of all right, when he goes, there's a really famous, he does an underbar through a cash, I don't know what it's called.
Like the safety glass.
It's like a safety glass, but he goes through a little tiny thing. And it's the world's smallest underbar. But it's totally stupid unless you are in that context and you have that thing and you're in a fight and you have to get to the other side of this thing where now they can't get you because they can't squeeze through the bars. That kind of stuff. It's find the context, because some of the stuff is just if you don't, I don't know. I'm a geek about it. That's why I sometimes I'm God, I just wanted you to be geeky the way I am. Do it this way.
You're a nerd. You're
find
there's a difference.
I'm a nerd, I guess.
The kind of challenges where you might, there may be some mental because you might take a shinner or cut a finger or something, but at the end of the day, someone across the street is watching you what the fuck is this guy trying to do 2 feet off the ground?
Before, swinging through bike racks. I remember that's the first time you introduced it to me.
Oh,
those
the circle ones.
Yeah, the loopy ones, just swinging and dashing out, but with no.
We
dash
would do that, right? I think I remember Mason Fleet was really into that. I feel the bike racks you would swing and see if you can swing around and catch the next set, and swing through and catch the next set.
That's very geek.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do some exact geek shit.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we've trained
There's nothing wrong with
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with little
No,
geek.
geek-
It's just it is geeky.
It's important to
stuff
know
is
when
in
you're
it,
geeking, though.
You really,
It's important.
if you're posting that on Instagram, you got to know there's not a lot of people that are going to appreciate it.
It's a lot of people
Yeah.
who think I could do that, and they're going to go do it once and not film it and be like, oh, it was really hard. But then still think you're a geek for trying it. This is stupid. I don't want to do it anyway.
All right, Vinny, we didn't really hear from you on the whole thing. I wanted to
About
have you
SPL?
weigh in.
This year is kind of weird for me because I haven't been part of the community for 3 years now. But I had messaged Rene every year. Hey, is it happening this year? Hey, is it happening this year? And last year, I think it was, the initial message was, we're trying to, we'll see what the government says. And then that government said no. But I've been doing, my first one was 2015. And I kind of got, dragged into volunteering because it was, I need someone competent to help me move stuff. And I was like, I'm competent. It's kind of how I got into owning a gym in the first place. It's just slight competence and you just can do whatever. But hey, I need someone to help. And I was like, all right. And then 2016 was like, hey, I'm going to come back. You need more volunteers? Cool. 2017, I come back. Hey, by the way, you're in charge of the volunteers. You get volunteers now because I'm sick. All right. And then I think 18, 19 were the first years I helped as part of SPL. And this year coming back, it's definitely, I don't know a lot of these kids anymore, but the people I do know, I have no other opportunity to see people who were my family for 7 years doing parkour.
Yeah.
So seeing Lincoln this weekend was just him walking in was just a highlight of I haven't seen you in 3 years. If I didn't come to Fort Collins, I might not see you ever again. If I don't go to a parkour event, Lincoln's not going to come visit me at my job. So
Yeah.
like, I might as well go to do what he does. So like, seeing a lot of these people, knowing that you're going to be there, Brian Prince is going to be there. I'm flying to Portland to drive up with Jake Vigil, who was like my best friend for 3 years and I haven't seen in 3 years. And it's like crazy. So it's a lot of it is seeing, you know, old friends and family. A lot of it is pushing a competition that I think to agree with Dylan, we're like, if I have kids or a family or whatever, hey, watch this. This is what humans can do. And yeah, you know, if you want to specialize in baseball, basketball, cool. But like, this is just a roundabout, amazing way that people move. And these are people who do it for fun. There's no money in this. Like, there's, you know, making a living off of it. They're doing it because they love
Yet.
I've been hearing that for 10 years, guys. I can't wait for it to happen. But until then, this is people love doing this. And I play Ultimate Frisbee. I paid $7,000 for me and my wife to go to Ireland to play in the World Games. The winning prize was $1,000. It didn't pay for what. I know what it's like to pay thousands of dollars to compete. So like, I get it, and I really hope money comes to my sport as well. But until then, people do this because they love doing it, and sometimes they get flown out, cool. But for the most part, people are flying all over the country, all over the world to compete in this sport, just to see friends and compete. And that's I think, a really amazing factor where it's, you know, prize money's great, but hey, if I don't podium, I got a 3-day trip to Vancouver, and I was up all night with Dom Tomato in the back of a, you know, bingo hall next to a church, sprinting naked down there. Like, things happen, right? So like, those are the stories that I leave SPL with. Like, yeah, people won, but what happened? Like, I had a great time in a parking lot for 5 hours with some of my best friends. Like, that's the best part, I think, for me.
That's the tagline.
That's the
tagline. You might not like it.
I think that's
There's a
great
part for
advice.
that.
That's like a great insight, especially for competitors. Is like, don't forget that like, it's so fun to just be a part of the community. As an event, it's like, it's also really great to understand like what it is and how it can grow and how it can become more like a UFC or something that's just like bigger, draw more eyes, really get athletes paid and create careers and all that good stuff we want to see. But as just like being in it, I was thinking about it the other day because I was, you know, we just had the Queen City premiere. There was a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a while. This was a thing I hadn't seen even people for longer. I'd seen now for the first time in so long. And it was just like, man, this is just like, I don't give a fuck about my high school reunion. I never went. I don't even know what year it was and stuff. But this is kind of like that feeling that I think people would have wanted to have, or they used to have when they go to high school reunions. It's just like every time I show up at these things, I get to see like the class that I graduated with, or you know, we're all different ages and stuff. But that's like so cool, and it's just like good to be a part of it again and catch up and just be like, damn, look at these people. They're still doing it. We're like, look at this guy. Look at Vinny now. He's a fucking video game television or whatever. Like, it's just like, I mean, we've been friends for 10 years probably
10 years, yeah,
so
at
it's just
least.
like, it's just cool to grow up with people, like, and just see everyone's evolution.
Yeah. And I mean, it's worth a $700 plane ticket to Vancouver. Like, you know, I'm in a place where I'm lucky enough where, you know, 3 years ago when I was still working at the gym, literally homeless, making less than minimum wage.
We were homeless together.
We were homeless together a couple times.
working
it was
on that,
like living the
grilling
dream.
on that fucking thing for.
Oh my God, the Foreman grill and the camping shower we bring out back and shower in front of the brewery.
Yeah.
Um,
Hang a nice big, what was it, like a 7-gallon bladder of water?
yeah,
Hanging from a shipping container and just drop trout and enjoy the evening.
living behind a climbing
With,
wall
like,
with 3
no
other
water
dudes.
pressure. Yeah. Living behind a climb.
That was
Good times.
yeah, and like that was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Vancouver. How am I gonna make it? It's $700 plane ticket. I'll fucking save up. Like I don't know what it is, but I'll make it work. And now I'm lucky enough to have a job where I make money, which is great. And now it's like, oh, do I spend $700? One, absolutely. And two, even if it was more, I'll throw money at it to go do this event. To work with these guys and put together an event that I think moves the sport in a positive way, like, is amazing. But then to like basically have my high school reunion with guys that I haven't seen in so long is like such an added bonus that I would pay just for that. Like I'd pay for one, I'd pay for the other. I get both. Fuck yeah. Going to Vancouver. I'm going to help these guys run the Vest event. And they're pushing it in a way that, like, I keep saying they. I'm not part of the group anymore, but like we are pushing an event where, like, again, Rez said, there's stuff coming this year that has never been done. And every year it seems to like, maybe there's a little regression on some aspects, but then the community comes out and it's like, oh no, it's better than it's ever been. Yeah. Regardless of like, oh, we messed up the edits or the commentators kind of missed this stuff. We didn't have an announcer. Oh, the community came together and put together a competition worth watching a fucking 100 times over. Or paying $40 for, a 2-day, event where you get the first day for free. That's just a showcase, like to show you what you should be paying for. Absolutely worth it. Like put the money in, support the community and realize this is the best event to support because one, FIG doesn't need your support. They're going to do their shit anyway. And two, no one else is putting together skill and speed the way, we are with a style competition. So every aspect of training is covered. So yeah, I mean, I support the event entirely just from an aspect of parkour being cool, but like, I think there's so much more to it when you get there and you see the, the community and how friendly it is and how welcoming it is. These fit Dom comes in and you're like, oh my God, it's Dom. Yeah, go up and say hi. That dude's cool. He's a cool guy. Like we're not at the point where like baseball players are signing autographs and then they walk away and they don't give a shit about you. Dom's going to give you a high five and say, what's up, dude? Let's talk. So, yeah. Right, Dylan?
Absolutely. All of it. All of it.
All right, last question. Just aiming towards the future, what is down the road for SPL 210? Like, what's SPL 100 look like? If Space. I know that's a crazy question to ask, but just for
we gotta get through one first.
Let's just get through one. I was thinking about you guys are maybe taking it on the road. You've already taken this recent competition on the road. I can't wait for you guys to take it to Kiskaya when they open because, again, I got a sneak preview some of the designs and stuff in there. I had some involvement with those, and it was designed with SPL in mind to a degree. Just like we know that people are going to have crazy competitions here, and obviously you guys. So tell us what you can, I guess, about where you want to see it go, even if it's just in August.
I think just saying like other gyms, like you mentioned, that's definitely something that we've always been keen on. It's just that we found that most facilities aren't willing to put in the amount of, I guess I'll say capital that Origins will front to do it. Like it's been a losing money sort of game, and if we've had years where it's just like, okay, cool, we broke even. This year we're actually hoping to turn a profit so that we can reinvest it into, a bigger competition to come. But yeah, other facilities, other places, it was never meant to be something that just stuck at Origins. It's just been a convenient and familiar place to do it where Tom and I are there all the time so we can do what we want with it. But I don't want to talk too much about like bigger long-term goals. This year though, I did forget to mention we, and this is something that doing at other places would build up, but to improve the live experience, like the in-house experience, we are going to have raised seating. So we're actually having staging built to put chairs on, as well as like high top VIP tables. So tickets on sale tomorrow. But
that's August 1st for the uninitiated.
Yeah, if you're listening right now, get on it.
Uninitiated to calendars.
It'll probably be like yesterday or something by the time I get this out. I'll try to get it turned around.
Get over to sportparkourleague.com right now and make sure before it's sold out. Because that does also mean limited seating.
Oh, yeah.
This year, we're not trying to cram as many people as possible in the gym. We're trying to create a nice viewing experience where you don't have people running up in front of you at the end of the comp or in front of the seats you paid for. So, and that's something that, hopefully we've talked before about, if it's not other gyms, it's an arena, with proper seating, or it's an outdoor event where we get bleachers and stuff like that. But that's been a big one for us for a while, where it's like, okay, as soon as we have enough money to do this, we need to move out of the gym because we are outgrowing that venue.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Any last thoughts, boys? I think it's fucking late. You guys are probably finished, but
I'm excited.
It's only 1:30 a.m.
all right, fine. I got all night.
All right,
Let's keep it rolling.
I don't have to pee or anything. I have to pee for the
I
last.
was literally going to bring my phone and the mic with me and just pee while talking from the bathroom. I would like to see the community get together, and this is like I'm not really part of it anymore, so it's hard to make this wish list, but like have For the Love of Movement and SPL and Tempest get together in some way to make some kind of schedule where it's not overlapping and have athletes be able to go from event to event, not on like a set schedule. Oh, I get the second week and we get the third week and I guess things change, things happen, but like have it be where like, hey, let's make sure we don't overlap. Let's make sure we're not putting Tempest qualifiers online at the same time as SPL qualifiers. So people are like, I'm just throwing lines together randomly. I don't know what date is which. Like, and obviously at some level, those are competing companies and that makes sense to want to be like, put your thing first and foremost. But, parkour competitions aren't ubiquitous enough outside of the community to have competing companies, I think, yet. So, at some point I'd like to see some schedule designed or even just committee, whatever you want to call it, of like, hey, let's get together this year and talk about when we're planning it, what we're doing. Let's support each other. For the Love of Movement can be putting, ad space, quote unquote, up for SPL. SPL can be pushing, oh, by the way, For the Love of Movement athletes will be at SPL and we're going to send some of our athletes there. Tempest winner, from this competition's coming to SPL. And I think getting Red Bull involved in that, I kind of left them out on purpose because they generally aren't going to be part of that, but getting them involved too would be fantastic. And having them say, hey, by the way, SPL winner blank, this year is going to be at Red Bull and have that, consistency where everyone's on the same page and pushing each other's competition, because competing against each other right now it's still too small to have that internal competition ruin it for everyone. That's my thought.
Yeah. I think this is an awesome opportunity to be a fan of parkour, be a fan of athletes. So hype up the athletes, and like the best thing to do is support the people competing. And, I think it's an awesome opportunity just to like fanboy out over or fangirl out over your favorite athletes and make them feel awesome for being the best athletes in the world. It's so rare to be able to do that in parkour, to have like a cheering moment about that.
Yeah. That is kind of what separates parkour a little bit from traditional sports is you can go to a jam and the best people in the world are right there training next to you trying to do a challenge. And there isn't a high barrier to entry to go meet your idol. That's kind of today's world, right? Twitch and YouTube have like comment sections, people are responding in real time. Parkour has that. You go to a jam and Hendo's training right there and you're like, oh my God, can I go say hi? And it's like, yeah, he's right there. You just go say hi. And you don't get that with, you can't go to the park and Kevin Durant's just shooting hoops and you're like, can I shoot with him? Nope. He rented the court out for the next 7 hours. Get out of here, kid.
Nope.
Yeah. So like, obviously there's the level of fame isn't nearly as high, but it is awesome that the top of parkour is still training in the streets and very accessible to a lot of people who look up to them and want to be like them. And the top athletes I've all seen have been very humble and open to having that competition or having that interaction with fans. So I agree, like this chance to throw some money their way and say, hey, I support you and I've never met you before, but like your videos inspire me. I can go on YouTube and your content is free to me every day. I can throw you $40, to support my athlete. I think we forget that a lot in parkour, that these people are putting out hours of footage and their own money and editing and all this stuff for free. You can just go on YouTube and go video, and then you get to have the luxury of going, I didn't like this one, or I loved it, but I put no effort into doing, presenting it at all. I watched the ad. They don't get that ad money. So this is like a cool way to be like, go support your athlete. Hey, you love this, you love Ed Scott's videos, go fucking support him. Spend the money. If $40 is too rich for you, ask your parents. They have credit cards.
All right.
Alrighty.
On that note, that's the we're gonna end on.
I mean, is there any? Yeah, I mean, I think you bring a strong message. Like, yeah, I mean, I wonder. I sometimes wonder, like, where's the peak of parkour? Sometimes I worry, did it happen already? What is the high watermark of our sport? We've seen that celebrity status come and go with people kind of bouncing in and out of the mainstream a little bit, even like touching up on popular culture. Do we see the world's changing? The internet has changed everything. We might be exploding from heat and lack of soil and too many people and all this. Like, it's a weird wild time to be alive. But
SPL will fix all of that.
SPL is going to fix all your problems.
Skill, speed, style.
I think
saviors.
I think like it's important sometimes to like wonder. I think what's the value in parkour? We have to sometimes bring it back to that because we all love it. And as I've gotten older, I've understood like why maybe it's not as big as I thought it was when I was in it, or why it was not as big as I think it should be still, because people don't understand it as much as.
Well,
it's a consciousness shift.
I do think that competition really solves a lot of the problems that we see in terms of, define the problems, right? So there's people out there who are perfectly happy just going out and training and then being like, cool, this is fine with me. I'm fine with just having friends training and then going and working a job or whatever.
Yeah.
But if the problem is that there's no money in the sport and there's very few people who are able to do it professionally, then from my perspective, the solution is to create a platform that people can then celebritize you and pay money to, or sponsors pay money to like fund an event that ultimately showcases your celebrity. I think it's I'm a fan of many of these athletes that are coming to compete at SPL1, and given the opportunity, I would pay money to watch them compete because I want to see it and I want to support that athlete or those athletes, or an event that showcases the athletes that I'm interested in watching. In the same vein that I've paid to watch Soul, and I haven't watched it yet, but I paid for it. I paid to watch Queen City, which I did watch. I paid to watch Soul Destroyer. I paid to watch the Breach film. Regardless of whether or not these are great films or not, I'm doing so because I support the athletes and they are celebrities to me. I want to see them. I want to support them, and I want to consume their media. I already get free stuff on Instagram, but like I want to see the story behind it, and the story behind it might come in the shape of documentary film, or it might come in the shape of a competition format that showcases their journey through this series of challenges or courses or whatever. So hopefully we can celebritize the athletes.
Yep.
And then you build your way up from an outrun open. You're a nobody who wins skill, and then you take it to SPL1, a pay-per-view event that just skyrocket, and maybe you win or podium, and it skyrockets your celebrity status tenfold, 20-fold, 100-fold, whatever it is. And then it brings you back the next year, and then the next year after that, and then you're able to kind of like build momentum and attract sponsors, because now sponsors are watching your performance and the number of eyeballs that are on you during these events, and realize like, oh, there's actually value to like helping this person, fund their training habit. I think competition is really quite a big solution for the sport, and I hope that we are going to be the ones that are able to provide that solution. It has felt like a losing battle over the years, if I'm being totally honest. We've been dumping our own time and money into this for years, we're not getting any younger. So like, hopefully this is the year that really pops off and people really see the value that we're going to be bringing, and I think a lot of people do, and there's a reason why I think this weekend was so successful. There was a lot of people who showed up that honestly I didn't think they would. I thought it was going to be a small event, and we had people fly here from Texas, California, Seattle, Georgia, Massachusetts. Yeah, it was wild to see, and obviously local Colorado athletes as well. So there is a desire to be a part of this. And so I can only hope that not only do people want to be a part of it as an athlete, but they want to be a part of it as a spectator to watch these athletes become celebrities. That's the way I see it, and that's my hope for the future for SPL.
Fuck yeah.
Well said.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I have one last thing to add on that, I think, which is just like, I think what you've made me remember is when I first saw parkour, it was like when I first saw UFC. I was like, I cannot believe human beings do this shit. This is so cool. It's so incredible. And I think it is more compelling than a lot of what's out there. And so I am inspired by the turnout of the event you guys just had and what's happening. And I don't see any reason why we can't be on the world stage. I think what we're doing with our bodies is just more interesting than a lot of what's ever been done before. It's going to replace gymnastics in my worldview. I mean, gymnastics is trying to call like gymnastics parkour or parkour gymnastics, but gymnastics is going to drop off the face of our language, our lexicon, if it's the way that I've envisioned it,
Well,
obviously I'm biased.
Quickly going back to like, well, did we already reach our peak? Oh, well, I don't know. Origins is has been quite successful this year. We've got kids enrollments popping off. Hub has been very
ever.
Yeah, best year ever. Post-pandemic, everybody's coming back. Everybody wants to do something. Hub is crushing it, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I think parkour is more popular than ever. It's just unevenly distributed right now. And I think that like once things start to tie together, it's gonna like that like cohesion effect's gonna happen, and it's gonna be like these massive communities that are now like decades old. Because like think about how many kids like just practice parkour now. Like that, like in Vancouver, like a decade ago, it would have been 15 people. Well, you've been around for a lot longer, but Massachusetts, like 15 years ago, there's like 13 people doing parkour, and now there's like at least 2,000 like in just one state. And
that's dope to hear.
Yeah.
Did you have to say it a lot longer?
He's old.
He is, isn't he? Got him.
But yeah, there's all these kids doing parkour. They're gonna grow up, either continue doing parkour, or they're gonna be like, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to do parkour, and it's gonna feed into the next generation of kids who do parkour. And then it's, I've said this for years, but I've always felt like I kind of want parkour to become like this, like, oh, this is just a normal thing. When you tell somebody I do parkour, it's just like, oh, cool, yeah, my kid does parkour too. And that started to happen with me. Like I was I was with my wife at like a work event, and I ended up talking to this guy. He's like, oh yeah, I live in Calgary, which, is another Canadian city. and he's like, yeah, my kid does parkour. He's super into it. I was like, what? How is this conversation even happening? Like a decade ago, this would have been such an anomaly, and this is now just totally normal.
You have to explain what parkour is.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Casino Royale? Like, that was how I had to start off every conversation. And now it's just like, oh yeah, my kid does it. Or like, oh yeah, like I do parkour lessons. It's just like parkour. I really do think, it's bubbling under the surface, and it's just waiting for its moment. And, maybe SPL is the moment, or maybe it's going to be World Chase Tag or some other avenue where parkour is just finally just going to pop again. But I don't know.
And we're hitting that time where the first generation now is becoming adults. And Seth Wang and Michael Sliger are kids who were training, who were there at 10, the Gremlins.
Holden Clark.
Kids who started at 8, 9, 10 years ago, and now you're like, we went to the Queen City, and little Aiden, grabbed a beer. And I was like, what are you doing? And I purchased it. I went, oh, you're probably 21 now. But I remember when you were 11 and you were just starting, and now you're the generation who's coming up and still following along and pushing it to a generation of 11-year-olds. And that's amazing to see that those, some people, obviously you're going to have people go by the wayside, but a lot of those kids who were so dedicated really stuck with it now are making huge strides with tag and with, competitions, like Holden and like, Michael Slager. Hopefully he comes out and does it, but trained him 10 years ago, and he was just a kid who was like, I really love this. Great, hope you stick with it. 10 years later, oh, you stuck with it? Like, hell yeah, like, let's go. I didn't for 10 years, so good for you.
What's his nickname again?
Tiny. Yeah, Tiny. He was a smaller child, and now he's a full-grown adult.
People also forget a lot of sports go through these ebbs and flows. Like skateboarding for a very long time was considered like dead.
Yeah.
And then,
That's what's so exciting is we know there's precedent of sports that feel like there's a lull, and it feels like there's a swell now all of a sudden. And we don't know if it's going to be tsunami or if it's just going to be a big wave, but even if it isn't the tsunami, that tsunami is likely to come one day or the next.
Like Tom was saying, it's like becoming normalized. Yeah. It's not like weird to go do parkour anymore. It's like, now it's like people are like, I want to flip. Like, that's awesome. Like, yeah.
It's part of the pros and cons of being raised on the internet, right? The internet culture is really what made parkour popular. And you're like, well, that comes with store having 7 million subs and putting out amazing movies. And it comes with kid yelling parkour and jumping off a roof onto his head. Like, damn it. Like that's never going to help. But it's definitely more normalized.
Dom?
It's definitely just Dom.
All right. Thank you guys for what you do to keep growing the sport. Thank you for your time tonight. Much love.
Thank you for having us.
We'll put some of that stuff in that description for all the folks that need to know how to use the internet.
SportParkourLeague.com. Buy your tickets. It's going to be epic.
Woo! That's it. Woo! All right. That was it. Wonderful to have the gang on. Appreciate them coming through late night and doing the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. Go check out the description. We'll see you at SPL1 online or in person. Let's go.